It's an amazing thing that you've been doing for 25 years. And I believe that for many more years, we continue to inspire the youngsters to do wonderful things. And I'm humbled that you considered me eligible and qualified to come and say a few words to your students. I'm just an ordinary person, an ordinary student who used to sit in the crowd some time ago. Life gave me various opportunities to move around, sometimes not in the path that I wanted to go to, but I just went with the flow. And I should say, the world has a wonderful way of energizing the things around us so that it brings out the best in all of us. I know today we are all here for a beautiful competition and you don't want to be listening to big speeches and long talks. But what I will do is to share a small story with you, especially because we have a lot of young audience here. I hope this story inspires you as well. Some of you may have already heard it. This is a real story of two children somewhere in the north of India, somewhere in Madhya Pradesh. One of the child is about 7 to 8 years of age, and the other child was about 17, 18 years of age. So there's about 10 years of age difference between them. Obviously the smaller child is really small and the elder child is big and strong and heavy. So these kids were walking around one day, and this is in Madhya Pradesh, okay, it's in a village in Madhya Pradesh. So they're walking around and there's this well on the floor. And this well was not covered and all that, and there's not much water there, so it's kind of an open well. And as they were playing and dancing and walking around, what happened is the bigger boy among the two, he falls into the well. The bigger boy, he falls into the well. Now that well is like about maybe 10, 20 feet low from the ground. But there's nothing covering it, there's no surrounding area, so it's like an open pit, and there's a little bit of water there. There's one bucket and there's a rope hanging around over there. So what happens is, this child who fell inside starts crying for help. And the smaller child, he looks around, and for miles and miles, miles and miles, there's nobody around. Okay, there's absolutely nobody around. And this child starts to get worried. He starts shouting and then, "Bachao, bachao, koi bachao, has somebody come, help me, help me." He waited for a few minutes, but nobody is coming to help him. There's nobody there, nobody can come to help him. Then what happens is, he looks around, and it's a small boy. He's talking about a 7-year-old child. And this is a 15-year-old, 17-year-old kid is in the well, and there's no way he can come out. It's pretty high water. And silence all over, except the shouting of this child who says, "Help, help, help," screaming at the top of his voice. Nothing is happening. So he looks around and he sees that this well, near the well, there's a bucket. And there's a rope over there. Okay. Now, this child is not big enough that even if he were to have a pail of water, he can't actually pull it out. He's not strong guy, small kid. But then what he does is he realizes that's the only thing that he can do at that moment. So he takes that bucket with the rope and puts it into the well. And he tells the other guy, hold on to it. Okay. So here's a small kid at the top of the well in a big open pit. He's looking down like that and is putting the bucket there with the rope in it. And the other guy is catching from there. And he's holding it and with all his might is gripping onto it, because he knows that this child might also fall inside. He might fall in any minute. But that's the only option they have at that time for them. So this guy holds onto it. He pulls and catches, pulls and he catches, and he comes out. And believe me, in about 2 to 3 minutes, the child who was inside, the big boy, he was able to come outside. He climbed out of the well. I saved him. Then both of them were hugging each other, crying, and they were so happy, but at the same time scared and fearful. They don't know what happened, but they know something great happened over there. So the next thing these kids do is they run back to the village. They go back to the village and they tell everybody about it. But what would happen if a small kid comes to you and says that I helped this big guy come out of the well all by myself? Would we believe them? Would we believe them? No. And that's exactly what happened. The parents said, "Jhoot bol rahe hai." They're just lying. And they started blaming the kids, telling that fabricated a story and all that stuff. They started telling the child, you don't have the power to do this, and you're not big enough to do it, and you're not capable of doing it. But this child knows that he did it. Both the children, they know that they did it. So then they would take these two children over to the village elderly guy. There's a Ramu Kaka over there. Ramu Kaka is about, say, 80, 90 years of age. Everybody respects him. Okay, so he tells the kids to the Ramu Kaka and tells Ramu Kaka, see, at this small age, these children are telling lies. Okay. And then Ramu Kaka calls them nearby and he asks them, he said, he's an old guy, he's a very wise person, he's a very knowledgeable person. He calls them around and says, tell me what happened. So the children narrate the story to him and they tell him what happened. And then the parents ask Ramu Kaka, do you think they are telling the truth? So Ramu Kaka says, see, the children say they did it. Obviously that's what they did. I believe them. So then they were worried, how can this old wise guy believe the story of his children? So then Ramu Kaka explains to them, do you know why this child was able to do what they did? The child doesn't have the energy to do it, he doesn't have the power to do it, he is not strong enough to do it, but he did it. And the explanation was that for miles and miles and miles around him, there was not a single person who could tell the child that you cannot do it. There was not a single person anywhere in the vicinity over there who could tell that child, you cannot do it. And you don't have the power to do it. உன்னால முடியாதுன்னு சொல்றதுக்கு அந்த இடத்துல யாருமே கிடையாது. So what happens is, within each one of us, be it a small child or a big person or whoever, we have immense capabilities. The power of the mind and the power of the body and the power of determination and the power of focus lies in each one of us sitting over here. But what the society does is, right from the child's growing up stages, we keep telling them what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. You shouldn't do this and you can't do that and you shouldn't do this, to such an extent that we condition the child, we condition the youth of today, we condition the persons for failure. We do not allow people to exploit the inner capabilities that they actually have. And this is my message to each one of you today. Do not curtail the power and the abilities of the child. Let them do what they can do. Even if you are not sure if they can achieve it or not, give them a chance. Let's see. It might work, it may not work, but let's give them that opportunity. And this is where the power of focus and the power of determination is what can make a person successful in life. So, to all the children who are assembled over here for today's competition, what I'd like to tell you is, it doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter if you win or if you didn't win today's competition. There will be hundreds and hundreds of competitions and challenges that life will throw at you. You have opportunities to succeed in all of them. But what's most important is that you do your level best. Is that you put in your full effort, not just to participate, not to get the participation certificate. I do better than what I did last time. You are in competition only with yourself. You're not in competition with the others. So if you have performed your best, and if you have given everything that you have to do your level best today, you're all winners. And that's all that matters. So I wish you all success. All the best to you. And as I said earlier, I'm just an ordinary guy. I used to be an ordinary student. I was not a topper in class. I was not a big successful guy anywhere. But life has given me opportunities. Similarly, life will give you wonderful opportunities every stage of your life. Grab it. Because sometimes opportunity goes away and then it's too late to go and grab it. So just look out for those opportunities, grab it, do your level best, and you will be absolutely successful in life. I have a website called rajeevthomas.in, and I would welcome each one of you, especially the children and the youngsters, to visit the site. I have a YouTube channel available as well. It's called youtube.com, Rajeev Matthew Thomas. Plenty of motivational videos out over there for all age groups, and even for adults, for corporates, for youngsters, for 10th standard, 12th standard students, plenty of stuff available there. Please go and watch it. Be empowered, because what we need is every time you face a challenge, you need to look at that challenge not as a challenge but as an opportunity, and you will succeed in life. May God bless you. All the best. Take care. Have a nice day.